Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Between Two Brokers. Today, happy birthday, Erin.
Thank you.
39 again.
Again.
How does it feel?
I threw my back out. So, yeah, I'm recovering from that.
Okay, I've never, what does that mean? I always hear people say that, but...
You don't know what you're doing. Like, you just get up. For me, I just got up off the couch and I was like, oh my God.
You can't move or something?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And it's been, that happened like last Wednesday, I think. So it's been a week.
Okay.
My mom gave me a muscle relaxer when I went to see her over the weekend, and that helped a little bit. But, yeah, just, being old.
Feeling your age?
Feeling my age.
Okay. And then, so you went home to Winston?
Yes, I went to visit my parents, and then I met my bestie in Charlotte for a weekend of shopping for no reason. We were going to go to the mountains, and then, I don't know, it's a long trip. And like I do every year, I want to light my closet on fire around my birthday, and just getting a little tired of online shopping. So I was like, let's go to Charlotte and, take advantage of their physical brick and mortar stores. Mm-hmm. So we did. And
so you just went to the mall department stores? Yeah.
And then there's this new place called Phillips Place that has like a Jenny Kane and an Alice and Olivia and Veronica Beard and like all these different, and an amazing Restoration Hardware with a restaurant on the third floor that's like indoor, outdoor. Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous. That was the best meal we had. Again, we're so spoiled here in Charleston with restaurants that every time I travel, I'm just disappointed in the food. But that was the best meal that we had. And it was just good old-fashioned girl time.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go. John told me that one of his best friends is moving to Charlotte this summer. And I was like, I'll go visit anytime. And you can go hang out with him and I'll shop.
It's an easy trip.
And, I know we buy everything online now. But, there, when I went to Tampa with Alan and went to Nordstrom and Neiman, like just seeing it in person.
Yeah.
I can't get a feel for the brands or anything like that unless I see it in person. And I'm like an efficiency person. So going to a boutique doesn't always work for me. And
yeah. And also like, I'm at that point now in my life, which is old, where I just want to touch the fabric and see if I even like it. Cause everything is so cheap now.
Yep.
That I don't want cheap shit. And also the sizing. It was like, I tried on a pair of pants at Rag & Bone and I'm a 2. Mm-hmm. I've never been a 2 in my life. Right. What the fuck is that?
Well, that would make me happy.
Well, I was, but I'm like, I would never have picked up a 2, I don't know. It's just...
Talking about the food,
sense.
I have to do this because my socks are never knocked off anymore. But I went to this place. I guess I found it on Instagram, which, as we know, I'm not like a big Instagram person, called Kramer's Kitchen. Okay. And it is in the shopping center. I think it's called Shelmore Village outside of Ion. So again, very convenient for John and I, since we're always like bellied up at the bar at Langdon's whenever we have like a Friday night off. But he has a seating at 6:30, and I don't know, it's not open every night. I think it's like Wednesday to Saturday. And he has a bar, and I think that seats like 14 people, and they have 3 or 4 other tables. And I think he was a private chef, and he just decided he needed a commercial kitchen, and so he decided to do this. He has a monthly menu, which I also think is very brilliant from a business standpoint, because if you're going to do one thing well, it's like my favorite restaurants in Charleston is Chez Nu, because it's like they got
different every day.
Yes, but they have 2 things that they prepare, 2 appetizers, 2 entrees, 2 desserts. So you nail it, right? Mm-hmm. So we went, and John is, he likes to have 2 glasses of wine and go home. That's his style. So we get there at 6:30, which is very late for us. It's a 4-course meal. He describes everything. I think we got out of there at like 10-ish. So that was like the longest meal I think John and I have ever had together. But, it was Bridge Run weekend. There were tons of people in town. We talked to these people next to us. The energy was incredible. The food was amazing.
Really?
I mean, so delicious. And he's from the Cape. He started talking, and immediately I was like, I love this guy. And then his girlfriend is she's serving. They have like 3 glasses of red, 3 glasses of white. So simple. Definitely check it out.
Okay.
And support them. I mean, I thought it was an incredible special experience. All right. Well, nothing about real estate, but like, why don't we just get into talking about our topic of today?
Okay.
Since we did the 3 P's of listing,
Yep.
which were pictures, price, and professional. Mm-hmm. We are going to get into the things that we think are the most important things to consider when you are buying a property.
Okay.
And we started with 3 L's, but we've added 1. Mm-hmm. We have a 4th L.
Okay.
Okay, you go.
Okay. The most obvious one to me is location.
Right.
And I think Charleston is unique because just having come from Charlotte this weekend, there's a lot of sameness in Charlotte, you know, like, I mean, obviously there's super beautiful neighborhoods, but they are quite similar. And I think Charleston, I can't say it enough, like how different the personalities of each of our boroughs are. Mm-hmm. And it's like someone who loves Daniel Island is not going to love James Island, and vice versa. So, you know, whenever I get a new buyer in town, it's just, you know, we've got to drill down a location, because if you're just open to everything, well, that's not going to work for anybody. Mm-hmm.
But like, okay, so I'll ask them a bunch of questions. First of all, do they have children, and where are the children going to school? Mm-hmm. That's probably number 1, because that's going to drive, you know, if they have to send their children to public school, then we're only looking in certain school districts.
Are you allowed to say that?
What do you mean? I don't know. Just arrest me, okay? I don't know. I'm going to get arrested for that. But yeah, I mean, because that has to be the focus. Also, work location, like where are you commuting? So I have a lot of clients that have to fly out constantly. That proximity to the airport is a big thing.
Yep.
And I've had this gorgeous listing in North Mount Pleasant, and we've been in the top like 2 or 3 for a lot of buyers. But those people have wound up buying off of Clements Ferry close to Daniel Island because they're getting new construction. They need to be close to North Charleston or the airport, which is interesting. So yeah, I mean, but there's so much more to this. So my girlfriend's looking at real estate in a different town and sends me all the listings, and every time she sends me something that seems too good to be true, it's like so cute, it's like price less than her budget, I'm like, it's on a busy road. I mean, I can just tell by looking at the map. What does it back up to? You know, people tend to really like homes that are on a quiet street or on a cul-de-sac or something like that.
Yeah, and for us, it's like, do you need to be close to downtown? Do you really like going out to dinner and shows and all that? Or do you want to be able to go for a swim in the ocean in the morning? You know, like you've got to, geographically, you've got to figure that out, because it can be hard to get around in Charleston. And I know people, you know, who move here from DC or Atlanta or whatever, they're like, your traffic is nothing. It's like, but once you get here and you're spending time in the car, you're unhappy, because everyone here just wants to be outside, mm-hmm. or, you know, to their happy hour or whatever it is.
Proximity to shopping too.
Proximity to whatever it is that you want to do in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And also because we have so many bridges, if there's an accident on the bridge, your day is screwed.
Mm-hmm. True. All right. So location. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's 1 L. I don't want to say number 1 L, but one of my top L's that I always bring up that I think my clients don't really think about is light.
Yes.
So natural light. So light is huge. We recognize it as real estate agents because every single time we walk into a house, there's a feeling. And homes that have a lot of light, typically when you walk in, the buyer's like, wow. Even if the house is not for them, they feel good. They mm-hmm. feel happy. So there's a lot of things that go into this. the number of windows, the orientation of the house. It's my favorite thing about my house. I have all these skylights, which, you know, that's very 80s and not a lot of people have, but that's what I love about it. So natural light. Now, if you find a house that you like that is not the most light, there are ways that you can make that, improve that with doing recessed lighting, other lighting options, adding windows. But some houses are just really, really dark. And those are the houses that tend to sit on the market the longest, and people can't really figure out why. And oftentimes that's why.
Yeah, and occasionally it's a landscaping issue. Like I showed a condo on Daniel Island last week, and you know, it's third floor, so which is the top floor in this building, it should be getting the most natural light, but it backs up to this wooded area, and the trees are so tall and so thick and dense that it just got and it wasn't facing the right direction. But you know, there's nothing she can do about that. She doesn't own those trees. So
trees are a big thing. Another thing,
we were in and out in 2 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing is porches. So porches are a really big deal here. And so sometimes my clients will have me over and ask me about adding screened-in porches or adding front porches. And it's fine, but if you go into a house that does not have porches, you're exposed to so much more light, whereas consider adding a roof line and how that is going to affect the light. So I'm not saying don't add a back porch or a front porch if you're going to use that. I'm just saying those are things that absolutely affect light. Sometimes when you go into homes that have double front porches or double back porches and they just don't feel right, or they don't, you know, have big windows. Now with new construction, everybody has there's glass everywhere. So it's all about letting the outdoors in and, you know, getting as much light as possible.
Yeah. But old porches were built deep enough to block the afternoon sun, so you could sit on the porch and not be in the sun. You know,
it was on purpose.
It was on purpose.
Yes. My, how things have changed. Okay. Why don't you talk about lot? When you are with a buyer, talk about the things that you're having them consider, or that you're considering when you're showing them the actual lot.
The first thing that pops in my mind is how polarizing a corner lot can be. People either love them or they hate them, and they will not. I've had buyers that will not even consider going to look at a house because it's on a corner lot.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
And then
I always thought they were more favorable.
Well, I think a lot of people do. They're like, oh, it's on a corner lot. I love that, you know? And so, I mean, that's one thing to consider. But, you know, most people have dogs these days. You want to have a backyard. You want to make sure that your neighbors are, you know, keeping up their side of the fence or whatever it is. The position of the house on the lot, you know, if it's set way back on the lot, then you have all front yard. If it's pushed way up, then you've got all backyard. It whatever lends to your lifestyle, again, just like the geographical location.
Also, just like east-west, how is the sun going to go, to your point?
Especially if you have a pool.
Yes.
You don't want afternoon shade.
Yes.
If you have a pool. Flooding, you know, the slope of the lot. I was walking in my neighborhood the other day, and there's a new construction house, and the amount of fill dirt they brought in. I mean, it's like this house is sitting on a hill, but it's just around the foundation. It like slopes off dramatically, and I'm like, how did that get through inspections? But it just looks dumb. And yeah, I'm sure the neighbors are pissed because all the runoff water is running onto their properties.
Right.
There's lots of things to consider, but it's one factor that you cannot change. You cannot change the lot. And so, you know, it's a deal breaker.
Some people, you know, I always assume that people want to view or want to be on the marsh. Some of my clients are completely creeped out by being on a marsh because they're afraid of critters. And then also if you want a pool. So I would say that that's like the number one thing that I'm trying to, I need to know this when I'm listing a house. Can a pool go in? Because I'm asked that question a lot. And the way you can't really get a definitive answer from a pool company, but basically if there is enough space that isn't close to a grand tree, because that's the other thing, that even if there's a shaded backyard, if there are grand trees, that can prevent people from being able to put the size of the pool that they want in the backyard. I don't remember how many feet off of the trunk you have to be, but there have been yards that seem pretty big where you actually cannot put a pool in. So time out, sorry. So that,
hang up on them.
oh, I'll hang up on them. Yep. Sorry about that. Real estate never stops. So those are some of the things that I think we need to think about with a lot. Mm-hmm. Also, construction. So there are a lot of projects going on in Charleston. Sometimes you'll look at a house and you can tell the people next to you are clearing the lot to do construction. That can take 2 years to build a house. So are you okay with listening to noise? And they're going to go pretty much all hours. I think there are certain rules and restrictions about what they can do. But, you have to keep that in mind. Are you okay with being near that?
Yeah. And again, where in the neighborhood is this lot? Mm-hmm. If it's in the front of the neighborhood, is there a bunch of road noise? If it's in the back of the neighborhood, are you prepared to add 10 minutes to your drive? I mean, there's some neighborhoods that go back so deep that it's like, oh, I'm home. It's like, nope, I've still got another 10 minutes before I get to my house.
And the last L is layout. Mm-hmm. Okay, so why don't you talk about why that's such an important thing?
That is not an inexpensive thing to change.
Yes.
And that's why we came up with this list. These are all things that are really difficult or impossible to change. So, if you want a 2-story house and it's a 1-story house, guess what? That's really expensive to change, or vice versa, or whatever. Separation of the bedrooms, I think, is a big thing. When I have young professionals that are looking for like a 2-bedroom condo, for example, to have a shared bedroom wall, I think, is a little bit of an invasion of privacy. And I really encourage them to look for a floor plan where there's separation between the bedrooms. Having separation between mom and dad's room and the kids' rooms or the guest rooms, those things can matter a lot. Mm-hmm. Open kitchens, people are still very into.
Yes, having like a master on the main, which I'm not supposed to say master. I'm going to go to jail for that too. Primary bedroom on the main. But like if somebody has a little baby, oftentimes they want to be on the same floor as the baby. Obviously, they want to be close to the baby. So yes, I mean, people think when they walk in because they watch HGTV that they can just plow through walls and create an open concept floor plan, which look, anything is possible. But if you're going to you would have to get a structural engineer in there probably. You have to get some kind of absolutely crazy expensive beam to bear the weight of the wall that you're taking out, the support that you're taking out. So it's just not straightforward, and I think a lot of people are very naive in terms of what they think they can do, and also, of course, how much things cost, because we see all the time in our market properties that go under contract that we can tell somebody wants to do a substantial renovation, maybe even a flip, and they get the estimates for it, and the property goes right back on the market. Yep. So we always educate our clients about what we are told by our contractors are average prices per square foot to renovate and build in certain areas. Sometimes they listen to us and sometimes they listen to their neighbor or the guy at soccer practice who says whatever, and that's not going to be the most accurate information.
One other thing related to layout that I've been stumbling across a lot lately is closets, because we have so many old homes here. And, when in the 1800s, people had like 3 outfits and 2 pairs of shoes. So the bedrooms, half of them don't even have closets, and they just, put their stuff in a dresser. Well, that doesn't work for a lot of people. And so when you're trying to envisioning where am I going to add a closet, it can be really difficult because it's not obvious and you're eating into a lot of space in the room. And that has killed a lot of deals for me as well, just because people, they're proud of their wardrobes and need somewhere to put them. So
that concludes our list of L's.
Yeah. When you're out looking, layout, location, lot, and light.
Yes.
Don't compromise, because those are inexpensive or very expensive, things to change or impossible to change.
Yeah. And when we're with our buyer clients, by the way, we're highlighting the pros and cons of everything. Not over agenting. If somebody likes the house, I'm not going to prevent them from buying it. But I might say, you know what, for resale, this could be an issue.
Right.
And that's why you hire us. Anyway, that concludes our list of things you need to be aware of when you buy. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Follow us at @BetweenTwoBrokers on Instagram and @Smith Spencer Real Estate, and we will see you next time.